supporting and championing championing what the hell, how do you say it?
Championing.
Championing. Hello and welcome to episode 10 of the 20 Years of Cthru27 podcast. A podcast that's now entirely used by me. It's an excuse to drink beer and chat about the golden years of Cthru27 at literally any time of the day. As always, I'm your host Richard Trigg, and in today's episode I'm chatting with someone that's often referred to as the Bruno Brooks of the Lowestoft music scene, and someone you'd be seriously hard pushed not to have come across if you've been to an event in the town over the last 10 years. You guessed it, I'm talking to Darren Steger-lewis. We had a couple of bevies and chatted about all things Carlfest, his never wavering passion for the local music scene, and where our silly band Cthru fits into that story for him. It's a wicked chat, and Darren's motivation for the scene is proper infectious. So infectious, we've donated 2 tickets for the Cthru27 comeback show happening on the 17th of December to the CFX raffle this weekend. Remember, tickets are on sale for the comeback show. Get yours now by heading to cthru27.com. Enjoy! It's Darren Steger-lewis on the 20 Years of the Cthru27 podcast. So here we are. I'm here with Darren. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, all good, all good.
Cool. So on all the podcasts so far, I've pretty much started with the question about where your story with the local scene begins and what was inspiring you creatively, what were you listening to, and what was happening in the area. What do you remember about that?
I don't remember much, and I think that means I had a good time.
Yeah,
but,
of course it does.
My earliest, I mean, if we kind of look at my earliest memory of the scene,
yeah,
it's got to be around 2001, at the brewery, drinking shandies. They weren't shandies. They definitely weren't shandies.
Yeah.
by the state I ended up in. I think Without a Clue and Nexus were playing.
Rad.
And I was with Tom, who is Chris from Without a Clue's brother, and his parents. And I just remember being violently ill, but having the best night of my life, because up until that point I hadn't been out. I hadn't been. I think it was probably my first time going to the brewery, and it just kind of opened my eyes. I was like, wow, live music. That's a thing. And I think the only live music I'd seen, I think I went and saw Steps the year before.
Oh, right.
in Wembley. I just destroyed all credibility I ever had.
It's quite nice. Steps at Wembley is quite a big deal, right?
It was a good show. But yeah, that was my only experience really of live music up until that point. And then being in a Spit and Sawdust bar with decent live music up close and personal. And it just kind of changed me as a person. It kind of developed my love for rock music and alternative music. And I mean, it was another few years before I started organising some shows myself. I think it was about 17 when I started doing that. But yeah, that was the point at which it kind of all changed for me.
I remember the first time I met you or saw you, and we'd just had a Cthru rehearsal down at what was the Sound House.
Yeah.
And the Cthru rehearsal used to consist of drinking and smoking, play a song.
When you say used to, I mean, do you
do
music?
No, it has. Well, yeah, we're kind of. There's a lot less smoking, a lot less drinking now, for sure. We'd then left out. We'd had a drink. We'd played a few tunes, and then we'd gone up to. Do you remember? It was the Globe. Was it the Globe Inn?
Yeah, up on the top of the scores.
And we'd gone in there to continue a few more beers. And there was a band playing, and you were definitely singing.
Well, I mean, you might want to rephrase that. Singing was not quite what
you were definitely shouting, but in a very punk aesthetic. Yeah.
Well, actually, I've been thinking of a few stories that I could kind of tell and come up. That was a band called Ugly Feet.
That's it, Ugly Feet. Yeah.
And we were a covers band.
Yeah.
I say covers. I'm calling them originals because they suggested that we had an eclectic kind of set list. There was blues, there was glam rock, there was a bit of punk, there was a bit of country, everything.
Yeah.
But at that point in time, I was just into punk music.
Yeah.
That's all I cared for. And so they'd suggest songs, and the one which sticks in my head is Black Sabbath, Sweet Leaf.
Okay.
They went, let's play Black Sabbath, Sweet Leaf. I went, okay, let's play that. I didn't listen to it once, not once, and they just put the lyrics in front of me, and I just shouted them and turned it into. And it was only a few years later, maybe, that I listened to Sweet Leaf and was like, yeah, that's not how I remember singing it. But that band, I actually wrote an original song for that band called Ugly Feet, which was inspired by C327.
No way, was it?
Yeah, it's still available on YouTube. But it was like a rap rock type thing.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, it's because I'd kind of listened to you guys. I was like, rap rock? You can do rap rock in a local band. I'd never heard it done before.
Oh, right, yeah, cool.
So I was like, I'm going to write a rap rock track. I mean, I pretty much ripped the chords from Polly by Nirvana.
Oh, right.
And then changed it up a bit and then just rapped over it. And,
right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wicked. I didn't know that. But it was kind of, I mean, that is probably what, 2003, 2004 kind of time.
That sort of time, yeah.
But you could literally go to most boozers in Lowestoft and there'd be a band or some kind of music on, wouldn't it?
Those were the days, yeah.
It's weird how times have changed, I guess.
I mean, I've seen it from multiple angles, both being in, we'll call them bands, both being a performer, being a landlord of venues, and doing the organising thing. I've seen it from all sides, and it's just, it was a different time then, and it's a difficult time now for live music.
Absolutely.
It's horrendous time from all sides.
It is.
You know.
Do you remember your favourite ever local gig, either that you've played or been to?
No.
Right.
In a nutshell, I don't remember a specific one. I remember basically anything that said charity music festival at the brewery. You know, I just remember that feeling of you walk in and you knew everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone knew you.
Yeah.
And it was almost like you just picked up conversations from the last charity day that was there.
Yeah.
And they did amalgamate into one, and you know, and there was never any trouble. There was never any kicking off or any of that.
That's it.
And it was just a good
mic
day.
on the gate.
Yeah, exactly. And it was. And the thing is, they were so good, and that's why they amalgamate into one. Because there was never any particular event necessarily. It was just mindless conversation and great music. That kind of means that there's a period of sort of 3 or 4 years of them that, to me, is kind of my best memory of the music scene in this town.
They kind of were more than just gigs.
Yeah.
They were like a youth club.
Well, I don't remember adults being there.
No,
particularly,
I don't.
Other than like staff.
Yeah.
I don't really remember because we weren't adults.
No.
You know, I don't remember. Nowadays, you go to a music event. I mean, I organise a charity music festival, and it's family friendly. And I refer to it, nothing about them was family friendly.
No, definitely not.
But there was no apology for that.
No, there wasn't.
Once you're in the confines of this courtyard and this bar, what happens.
It was kind of an unwritten rule, you know, where you smoked the spliffs, where you didn't smoke the spliffs.
Yeah,
kind of.
Everyone knew.
I remember one of those exact events when I can't remember what year it was, and that the significance of it was that Dan Hawkins, from The Darkness, they were like at that point was on their massive. They were rising very quickly. Turned up to one of them and then came and sat down at a table, and it was like everyone's like, oh, it's the guy from that band The Darkness. End of conversation. And
that was it. There was no,
and it was
I remember that because there was no fanfare about it.
No, it wasn't.
There was no like, look at him, and everyone rushed around for autographs.
Exactly.
It was like, oh, it's Dan Hawkins. Okay. And to be honest with you, I mean, that's the lowest of ways.
Yeah, it is.
We're not going to congratulate you for doing well. We're just going to go, oh,
you're
there.
But it was cool. It kind of shows the significance of, I don't know, like that era and that place as like there was no ego, exactly. There was no ego.
Everyone was at a level pegging.
Exactly.
There was the time I got a bit starstruck by Reflections opens. So, I mean,
what's
that, 2005, 4? Must have been 2004.
C3 played there a couple of times. That would have been 2004, 2005. Yeah.
And it was when P-Rock was on Sky TV. Do you remember
Okay.
P-Rock,
No, I don't.
channel? It was basically run by a guy from. I mean, nowadays it's what everyone's doing, running a TV channel from his bedroom, sort of thing. And basically, he was finding music videos and putting them on a channel. He managed to get space on Sky. It was about 3 channels down from Scuzz.
Wow.
And it was around for about a year and then disappeared.
Okay.
He basically got shut down
Yeah.
because he wasn't licensed to do any of it. He didn't have any of the regulatory stuff. But and he had this band that he played on heavy rotation called Gravel Trap.
Okay.
I don't know if you've heard of them, remember them, but
I don't know.
they were on heavy rotation. They had this song called SRJ, which just had the fattest bass lines, and it was the most kind of here, there, and everywhere song. And all of a sudden, they were playing in Reflections.
Well,
I just saw a poster going Gravel Trap and Reflect, and that was it. I had to get there.
Yeah.
And it was. To me, I was starstruck. Like I said, these were just like I think there were some guys from the Midlands or something, and they were kind of in a band, probably the size of like Cthru were at the time. So they were, doing some decent tours and stuff. But I was so starstruck. I was like,
"Oh, wicked!
Gravel Traps, Gravel Traps!" Little 17-year-old me thinking that they were famous, essentially.
Yeah.
And yeah, that goes down as a pretty special. Problem is, I can't even find anything from them now. Like I think they've got a couple of tracks on Spotify, but
Yeah, no, I don't remember them, but I do remember Reflections opening. That was a great venue.
It went downhill quite quickly.
It did very quickly.
Fights, I've never seen fights like it outside the front of Reflections. It was just bar brawls.
Well, you had what was the place next to it? It was like the opposite of Reflections, wasn't it? You couldn't get more further away, like the shirt.
The Crown? Do you mean
the Crown? Was that where people bouncers on the door, shoes
Crown.
only?
Yeah,
they were so opposite.
Yeah. So a bunch of grebos, as we were termed then, piling out into the street with a load of townies.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it was inevitable, wasn't it?
Yeah. Definitely.
I did one of my. I mean, I'm sure we'll get to me at some point in the podcast, but one of my favourite. It will happen. It'll be a really long one. One of my favourite gigs was at Reflections, and it was a really odd billing, but it was just a wicked night, and it was a really long night. It was like super late gigs, which was just odd. But I remember that there was a host of bands on, but the last 2 bands were These Bloody Hands, who Regan's band, Annotations, and then Cthru, and we ended up. I think we did loads of gigs with Steve's band, and completely weird. Like I don't know why. I mean, weird as in the billing. Like you'd have like some kind of streets style, mild rock rap thing with.
that was the joy of it. Alternative was the thing, wasn't it? It was like, is this what your mum and dad would say you shouldn't listen to? Put them together, and it
absolutely,
works. And I mean, that's when new metal emerged from a lot of that.
I suppose it did.
It's that kind of, well, I like rap and I like rock and I like this and I like DJs and that's the thing, and that's something. I mean, I pigeonholed myself as a punk for a fair while, and whereas now it's like, is it alternative? Is it different? Is it unusual? Has it got something?
It's much more. Today is like it's come up in the podcast before, but like when Cthru would go to meetings which there were a lot of with agents and press, it was always like
How did you guys handle that?
You're too eclectic. It was too. It's only 2 of us would go.
I was gonna say, if you took the whole band.
No way. No. There was just 2 of us that would go. Normally, you were too eclectic. It was too many influences. You need to be pigeonholed more.
Yeah.
But now, in 2021, music. I mean, Cthru wasn't edgy or weird. That's run of the mill. Like.
Swoosh time! Podcast time! See-through style.
Do you remember... I mean, you're probably going to say no, but do you remember... do you remember the first time that you heard or came across Cthru27?
I don't remember specifics.
Yeah.
I remember... It's got to have been at the brewery.
Yeah, okay.
And I'd heard about you guys. I'd been told to kind of keep an eye on. I think I was sat in the back room having a smoke.
Okay.
And I just heard someone rapping.
Oh, right,
thinking,
at the brewery.
What on earth is going on? Like, I mean, I was a big fan of Eminem at the time and Dr. Dre. but I never expected to hear anyone rapping at the brewery, and so I kind of made my way through and was just kind of confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, Johnny wearing a blazer and a pair of jeans and stuff.
That was right,
yeah. I was just like, why is
Johnny's
this
blazer?
Relatively well-dressed man? It looks like his dad's blazer because he's quite skinny.
Vest top, blazer and jeans.
Yeah.
Mental.
In the heat of the brewery where everyone else is dying in of 40-degree heat.
Wicked that you remember that 20 years later, though.
Yeah. Well, that's my only memory is his blazer. But, yeah, I remember kind of being a bit dumbfounded.
Okay, yeah.
You know, that this kind of rap rock thing was acceptable.
Yeah.
Because I think by that point I'd only really heard rock bands. Playing, quite straight rock bands and a lot of covers bands playing on the local scene. And so all of a sudden I was like, wow, you can be a bit different.
Yeah.
And I mean, when we were talking before this, when you mentioned Bejeebus, it kind of reminds me of the same thing when I saw them.
Yeah.
I was just like, what is this?
That kind of out there, kind of musy thing going on, didn't they?
Kind of
They had
synths
some-
and
yeah,
stuff.
that's right,
And,
yeah.
I mean, I think at one point I saw them playing, they had about 4 keyboards. I thought, what
They
are you
did,
doing
yeah.
with them? What are you doing with 4 of them? Like, I can't even play one. Yeah, he's playing 4.
Yeah.
And so it was that to me. It was that, and I've always been a bit of a sucker for anything that just doesn't quite sit in the norm.
Yeah.
And at that point in time, at that very specific, this small seaside town, in kind of a dingy venue that predominantly has rock music.
Right, it was very
all
rock,
of a
wasn't it?
sudden you've got someone spitting bars.
Yeah.
It's like, but in a local accent and talking about Raiden and do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
and you had the Raiden sign there
That's
on the
it,
stage,
yeah.
and it was just like this. It just felt surreal.
Do you know what? No one's brought that up yet on the podcast. The Raiden sign.
Where is it?
The Raiden sign exists. It's down at.
Is it down at the lockup?
It's down at yeah. It's with the gear.
Oh,
yeah.
fantastic.
So
is that coming out in December?
100%. Yeah. But where it came from was when we first started See Through. So in 2001, before it was a band, it was just like a collective. We were just making songs. We didn't know what we were going to do with it. It was all very weird, but we were just kind of doing it, doing our thing. And there was our friend Matt Pescod, Matthew P. He was kind of doing the same kind of thing, not as a band, like a bit of like a joke like us, but called the Crayon Crew out in Cookley near Halesworth.
Right.
So him and a few mates, he'd got a computer at this point. I mean, it sounds archaic, it sounds mental to say he'd got a computer. We'd got
Only
a computer
20 years ago.
yeah,
but...
and we're going. Oh, you can do this kind of digital music. So he was doing this kind of very much J5 Jurassic 5 type thing going on called the Crayon Crew. And we were doing our rap inspired thing, but all jokes kind of thing.
Yeah.
And they were kind of making diss tracks, and it was all a massive joke. So our thing was, wouldn't it be funny if we went to Cookley and took down all the village signs and replaced them with all Raiden signs?
That's amazing.
So we were like, this is what we're going to do. Let's take down all the Raiden signs that we need. Then we're going to collate them and we're going to go over to Cookley, remove them all as like a diss. Like they'd wake up and...
They're in Raiden, yeah.
Exactly. However, we just never... We could... The effort it took to get the Raiden signs, we're like, oh no.
You were all ideas with absolutely no practicality about
so it left
done.
us with a load of Raiden signs. One of them was in our wonderful friend Henry's shed. He had like a shed, just like smoking, drinking type place. And then we had the other ones, I don't know where they all went, but one of them went to Paul. And Paul then just had it in his like hardware case.
Yeah.
So it just always came to every gig thereafter. And then when we made Radio N, which is obviously Raiden, it was like a given, like that's just out, and then you've got like songs that reference Raiden all the time. So it's like the Raiden sign has to come out, and it's still out there. And we just done a load of music videos, and we couldn't decide whether to have the Raiden sign in it or not. We decided not to. I'm not sure why we didn't have it in it actually, but we didn't have it in it, but it still exists because I saw it about a week ago. But yeah, the Raiden sign at the brewery.
Yeah, but that's my earliest memory of See Through, and then I think you must have. I don't know what you did after that because it took me absolutely ages. I mean, every Friday I was scouring the Lowestoft Journal because you remember when gigs used to be in the journal, and it used to take up a fair chunk of the
the what's on, like yeah.
And so I'd get home from school on a Friday, I'm a lot younger than you. I'm from school on a Friday, and and I'd look through Lost of Jello, and I was constantly waiting to see when you guys were playing.
Wicked.
And there was no other way of knowing.
Yeah, that's right.
Because we didn't have the internet, and it was like, and you must have taken months to play another gig locally after that.
I think we didn't try and over. There was a lot of bands that were kind of doing kind of on rotation. Yeah. We did try and be conscious of that, but we did do a lot of out of town shows. We just kind of got, because we'd all been in other bands like just playing locally before. And there was a magazine called Club Cat in the 90s with 2Ks, and they were really great people that run it. But it was kind of every band, it was like a rotating band thing, and we tried to. I think it was kind of conscious. We tried to not be part of that. With this new thing, we didn't really know what we had, but we just sent stuff off everywhere. So at one point we were doing maybe a London gig every week, well, every couple of weeks maybe, but then you'd have like a Leicester. So we'd kind of do like a London, a Norwich, a Leicester, a Lowestoft here, that, you know, so it'd kind of be, we tried to consciously achieve that.
But for like 15-year-old me, that was really annoying.
Yeah,
because I'd seen you once, and I'd already heard your name before that, and was told I'd like you, and that, you know, watch out for it. And then to see you once, and it was just like, where'd they go?
Oh,
where'd they go?
We came back, and then we didn't fuck off.
Podcasting C through 27, a little bit like casting when you're birding, but with less bacon and less fish hooks.
There used to be, like we spoke about earlier, there used to be so many venues. Okay, there used to be two hands of venues.
There was enough venues.
What was your favourite venue?
I mean, you expect me to say a brewery, don't you?
Maybe.
The time when I was kind of going to gigs and stuff, the brewery was one of the main ones I went to. I wouldn't say it was the best. I loved going to Seabreeze.
Seabreeze,
just because it was just so, like, there was absolutely no guarantee that floor was going to hold.
That's it.
You know, and it was creaky. It was old. There was the social club downstairs of people who certainly didn't want us there.
Yeah.
And that I've never felt quite so punk as having like a 2 foot tall Mohican. Covered in leather and chains and stuff, and walking through a social club to go to the toilet. And I was only like 14 at the time, and I'm absolutely happy. And I mean, they didn't care if they served you at that age or not. There was no question. It was just
£1.20 a pint.
Yeah, in you go and enjoy yourself. And you look at it, and it was such an alien place to a social club.
They had all the netting up back then, didn't they?
Yeah, all the fish like and crab nets and stuff. And you kind of think, what a weird, who's working there suddenly went, I know what we'll do. We'll let the local kids in to drink and listen to, like, I mean, I remember when Rock School was filming.
Oh, okay, with Chris.
And 6 Degrees were playing, and they were supporting, I've forgotten the name. Was it A Minute to Midnight or Seconds to Midnight or something like that?
Right, okay.
Craig Fellas was in the band, and he was dressed as a nurse, swinging from the rafters.
Wow.
You know, Channel 4 filming. And you're just thinking, this is the most surreal thing. Like, he's swinging from the ceiling. There's camera crews. I'm paying £2, I think it was, for a beer at that point. And I'm in a social club. On the prostitute alley in Lowestoft. Do you know what I mean? It's like, this is the weirdest kind of situation to find myself in. But no, I've got. I mean, I'd have to say, it's not necessarily a particular venue, but it's that brewery Blue Notes trip. We used to do on a Friday, Saturday
exactly.
night. Brewery, then Blue Notes for Spirals.
That always comes up.
Do you know what I mean? That is that feeling. Like the ones who had jobs would get a taxi to Blue Notes. The rest of us would walk.
You know, you just bundle in someone's car,
or jump on the train and not pay for it. Hide from. Do you know what I mean? For that last little trip. And just that feeling of your night out was
100%. 100%.
Nowadays, I kind of look. I go to my local, but I always think, oh, well, shall I get? No, I won't go anywhere else.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that. I mean, I remember from both sides, but you would kind of, if you're going up to breweries, a punter, it's great. You know, you just do your thing, and then it's like, right, you're going up Blue Notes, or as a band, which was quite often that, you know, we'd literally pack down and break the stage as quickly as we could to then go up there, and it wasn't like the band and fan thing. It was just like, let's all just go up there, because it was this community which was, like we said before we were doing the podcast, it's so overlooked at the time, and now you look back on it, it was so important to so many people.
Genuinely
the community thing, it was weird. It kind of transcended band, fan, it just this community thing. It was wicked.
And I mean, I remember a couple of times I played the brewery, and I was never in any particularly great bands, but a little bit of DIY music that I was in, and a couple of times at the Blue Notes afterwards, you know, we go to the brewery, go to Blue Notes, and someone would come up and go, really enjoyed your set. And all of a sudden I felt like a rock star for a second. Like, I've been spotted, and they've kind of congratulated me, but at that same time it meant I could go, and if I was watching a band that I liked, I essentially went and hung out with them and got to know them, and there was no ego or high regard. It was like, let's all just go and have a party together.
It was super ace.
Definitely.
I love that. So the See-Through comeback show this December is all about that, really, reconnecting and bringing together that Lowy scene and celebrating a time which everyone seems to miss so dearly. But what do you miss most about those days, and what do you think caused the shift and that change?
I definitely miss you could finish a conversation with someone drunkenly at midnight on a Friday or Saturday, and then you see them next week and pick that conversation straight back up where you left off. And you didn't have to text them or ring them, and there wasn't, why haven't you spoke to me? It was just, you went there, and it was your people, it was your friends, it was your family, it was people who, and we all knew each other, but also, looking back, we barely knew each other, because we only saw each other out when we were going out for a few beers and watching some music.
It was comfortable.
But and there was never, and if someone was missing for like more than a couple of weeks, it was like, oh, have you seen so-and-so? I hope they're okay. And we all cared about each other, and I think it's that community sense that I miss. And the answer for me is, we grew up. And we grew out of it, and there's probably still that scene there, whether it's online, probably is online now, but there is that community going to still be there. It's just we're not in it anymore in the same way. We all got old, and I do the school run, and I see people who I used to go out drinking with and watching gigs with, and kind of, I don't always feel like I can go and say hello to them even, you know. It's just like that's old us. We're all like adults with kids and responsibilities and stuff now, and it's almost like, you give each other a nod and walk past each other. It's like a secret club that we're all a member of.
It is. That's a great way of putting it.
But I think it is what it is. It was what it was, and it's going to stay there for a lot of us in our memories. Never in photographs or video or on the internet or any of that. It's just going to be what it was. And it was perfect for its time. You know.
That's right.
I think the scene, if it had carried on, wouldn't have got better, because it was as good as it could be.
You might be right.
And it was an amalgamation of the music fans, the bands, the venues, the sound guys, Mike on the door, as you said, and all of those different members of different kind of walks of life coming together for a common goal, which was just have a good time and have fun. And it wasn't political in the slightest. It wasn't led by anything else, and it wasn't led by money. The bands didn't play for money.
That's right.
The venues didn't really care if they made any money. It was, and that's where a lot of it's changed now, is because without money, it can't continue.
That's it.
And so I think that's the sorry end to it. Is it wasn't sustainable, was it? Really?
No, that's right. It's a great answer, mate.
Throw down your RV, get yourself comfy, and listen to a little bit of See-Through on podcast. Oh yeah.
Over the last decade or so, you've been the one constant and probably only promoter left supporting and championing live original music. And whether it was when you're at the Standard or Halloween on Fire or Carlfest or any of the other events you've been involved in, you've always seemed to have a passion for the town and the music hiding within it. But what is it about the town and the local talent that keeps on driving and inspiring you?
There's two answers to this, and one of them is purely selfish. It's all I know. This town, I've lived in the outskirts. I've lived in, spent time in Norwich and Yarmouth and stuff. But Lowestoft is my home. and will remain so for a lot of years. And even when I move away, it will still be home. And the scene has taught me so much. It's introduced me to so many great people, and so many diverse ways of living, ways of thinking. And music-wise, it's installed a lot of my taste and my love for music, and that all comes from being part of that scene and my life being involved in that scene. So for me, it's like I have to, because I owe it to the scene, and it's still there. The talent is still there, and I also think there was someone doing what I do back when I was younger. And enjoying it, and I say about those charity music days. Well, that's what I now put on.
There is.
So hopefully there'll be a group of kids who are feeling what we felt back then. And will be inspired to do the same for the next generation, or start a band. Or the amount of people I hear and who come to the events and they've never seen a live band before. And you think, come on in, let us teach you what we know.
It's wicked.
And that's the thing, it's passing the knowledge. And I mean, the one thing, I've never done it for money ever. I had the pub. I never made a penny off it. The publicans generally don't. But a lot of stuff I do is for charity, because it means you can also give something back in the process. And it's amazing how generous the musicians of Lowestoft are. Insane. I have a roster of bands that I call upon for regular events, and they're like, yeah, sure, put me down. You're thinking you could be out earning money. And they choose, no, we want to help support whatever it is you're doing. I mean, it's got to put, someone don't even ask me what it's for. Just put us down. Because they know that it's going to be for a good cause, and we're going to be helping people with it. So it's just kind of that, it's that community vibe, and to me, it's one way of keeping it alive. For me.
Absolutely. I think it's super important. You're the only one that's left kind of doing it, and
everyone probably grew up and got real jobs, and I just
well, I don't even think it's that. I just think you I don't know, you've kind of traversed this very weird landscape of music in 2021, and you're still there in the town doing it, and I take my hat off to you really for that.
Thank you.
I think it's ace.
I mean, last year taught me a lot, having to organise an event the size of Carlfest and do it fully virtually. Because there was questions, do we just not do it? I was like, well, no, because I mean, with Carlfest in particular, I made a promise to Carl before he died that I would do it. And he wouldn't have cared for COVID. He'd have just said, we're doing it. No matter what, come hell or high water, this festival's happening. And so I managed to do it. We raised just as much money as we normally do. Viewing figures, which for once we actually had because we were online. We were reaching an audience far greater than we would have ever done just in the pub beer garden. So it's taught me a lot that going forward, there is something to be said about this virtual format, which is now a mainstay in our kind of lives. That we can utilise that, and as promoters and as event organisers, we should be multi-skilled and go across platforms. I mean,
absolutely.
So this year there's going to be an element of the virtual side, in with the same Carlfest that we kind of know and love from previous years.
So, as I said, See-Through are 20 years old this year, and weirdly, you're partly responsible for that, because if you remember, you and Lindsay pushed us to get back together, a reunion to play at the Standard.
2012.
But for the gig
the gig was February 2013.
That's it. So if you hadn't have done that,
ironically, you didn't even play the gig at that.
No, we didn't. No, but if you hadn't have done that, I'm not sure we'd be sitting here now. Maybe. So, what do you think it is about See-Through that stood the test of time?
I think there's been a way that you guys have done stuff. Like you said before, when I was looking through the paper trying to find that gig to go to see you guys play, it wasn't there because you weren't going to flood the market with it. You weren't going to go, we're in every pub on every corner every night. You weren't easily accessible in that regard, which kept a momentum. There's also, to me, you yourself spent a lot of time watching in bands and stuff. So you know, and the other members, you epitomise Lowestoft live music.
Okay.
You know, there's a kind of, it's the go-to.
Okay.
You know, it's like, oh, what were the local bands back in the day? Cthru will always be one of those top bands because it was the the arsehole guys who didn't give a shit about anything, made great music, but were troublemakers at the same time.
Yeah.
I think you had that edge of no one really knew whether you were going to behave yourselves or not.
Right.
Or, you know, and I think it's the name is different, you know.
Stupid.
It's stupid. I mean, has it got meaning? I don't
well, we made up a meaning after. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. But I think, that combination of having numbers at the end always makes you remember a band's name. You know, your Sum 41s, your Blink 182s.
Okay, yeah.
Cthru27, it fits in there, you know.
Yeah.
And then the way, you've marketed yourselves has always been relatively clever.
Okay.
You're not just like, oh, we're doing a gig. You know, come if you want. You know, it's actually, you pay attention.
Try and make it a thing,
Yeah, for me personally, that is reciprocated. If I see someone put some effort into what they're doing, I will give them my time.
Yeah.
You know,
that's cool.
And there's a lot of bands who used to put no effort in whatsoever. Still had a massive following, but wouldn't have stood that test of time because they didn't put that original groundwork in.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the thing. I think you guys have, you worked your asses off back in the day on it, whether you admit it or not. You know, it was
we
all fun and
definitely
games,
did.
But
We definitely did. Yeah.
You really put some effort into it. And for me, it is you're one of those bands that epitomise the scene as it was.
Oh, it's really nice to hear. Thanks, mate. No one's ever said that, so I'm glad that someone's noticed that. So at least one person noticed it.
Just me in the corner watching.
Yeah, well,
watching all the
to the other buggers in the band. There you go. They noticed it, mate. Well done. Thanks, Darren.
No worries.
I'll sort you out a £5 True story though. So Carlfest 10.
CFX
happening this weekend. Well, from when this comes out.
Yeah. So we've just done a Carlfest warm-up show.
Yeah.
CFX, the warm-up show. It's the first time I'd ever done it.
Yeah.
Part of it is this is our 10-year anniversary, and we started with a 5-day festival in 2012.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to do a 5-day festival. It's only a 4-day weekend, so I put another gig on the week before. And I'm sure it all went well. I don't know.
Definitely went well.
Yeah,
mate.
it went brilliantly.
Yeah.
So,
definitely went well.
But yeah, so coming up this weekend, we have the 10th. It's not called Carlfest.
No.
Believe it or not, it's not. It's called the Care and Real Love and Charity Music Festival. Carlfest only appeared after me 5 years in. Gave in to everyone calling it Carlfest.
Okay.
Do you remember when everything was something fest?
Yeah.
So obviously K-Fest was a big one at the time. But there was just fests everywhere.
Yeah.
So I really held out. Care and Real Love and Charity Music Festival doesn't quite roll off the tongue.
No, it doesn't.
But so eventually I gave in and we'll call it Carlfest.
Yeah.
But this year it's called CFX because it's Carlfest 10. So, yeah.
That's ace. What have you got in store? Plug away.
Okay, so this is my opportunity. So we've got 30 bands over 4 days at the Mariner's Rest in Lowestoft.
Yeah.
That's from the 27th through to the 30th of August.
Yeah.
We've got Jamos is playing as he does every year. Opens up, has opened the festival for the last 10 years. So
ace.
Stephanie Tears playing. We've not had her there before. Chris Taylor, Ryan Redwood, Matt and Heidi Collars. I'm even going to do a cheeky little set.
Oh,
which
ace.
I tend not to do unless it's Carlfest because no one will book me.
Nice and early though, yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually opening on the Monday at 2:00, which means that we don't actually officially start till 3. So
gotcha.
Basically just gets me out of the house. Jam Shedders are there, so that's Jamos and Chris have got a new from Without Clue.
Yeah,
got
cool.
a new band. Jamos is back on bass, so that's
cool.
going to be pretty good. Love Songs for Losers, that's John and Justin Peach, from Secondhand Blues and Junk Shop Poets.
Junk Shop, yeah.
Now they're two who have really kept the scene for me kind of relevant and alive these last sort of 5-6 years.
Yeah.
They've really kind of, they're not quite Lowestoft based. They're more Galston and Yarmouth, but as original material, they're two who have kind of really hit the nail on the head of late. Knotted, Jade Grand, Project X, the Michael Lafleur Collective, Red Wine Talk, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
Light Skies Darken. Have you heard of them?
No.
They're another one. They're relatively young guys. I think their guitarist was in Ugly Feet. Remember I had a young lad in the band who was really young, and he was excellent on guitar.
Glasses.
Yeah.
Not the one that was in the same guy that was in Jericho.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's now
okay.
in Light
Wicked.
Skies Darken, and they're like this prog rock.
Oh, right.
I mean, their Light Skies Darken is LSD.
Oh, okay.
So that's sort of music
Right.
that we
Yeah.
play.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, really looking forward to them. The Big Cheese, Joker's Wild, so a couple of covers bands in there. SBT, punk rock covers, but like proper punk rock.
All right,
70s
wicked.
kind of stuff. Scarlet, Mother Black Cap, Storm, Uninvited, Lincoln Skins are going to be there. Boston Tea Party, Ben from Jakari.
Yeah.
Junk Shop Poets are playing their last ever gig at the event. They said that 3 years ago, and I've managed to get them to play every year since.
Okay.
And then Like Optimists are playing there as well. So yeah, that plus there's a few more. It's all in the beer garden at the Mariners Rest. Outdoor bar. Everything spent on the outdoor bar goes to charity. Every beer bought, that money goes straight to charity because all the beer's donated from the pub.
Raffle.
It was a charity raffle. Do a huge charity raffle.
Let's shove a couple of tickets to the See-Through show in there.
Should we do that?
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Let's do that.
Yeah, cool. So yeah, you come to Carfest and you get a chance to win to go and see See-Through. So
Yeah, do that.
Yeah. But yeah, so we have charity raffle, and that's a big thing. I mean, a lot of local businesses donate to that. I normally aim to get about 30 prizes. I mean, some years I've had 50, 60 prizes. And
wicked.
you end up calling raffles like just between bands. Just, just another ticket. And
well, that's great though, isn't it? It shows that the community's still about and still supporting it. So
it's a great event. We normally raise between £4,000 and £5,000. And for a free entry event, that's not bad.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it's you have to pay to get in. It's obviously we have to be careful with numbers because it's not the biggest of venues.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's shaping up. I just can't wait to do it again. Like I said, last year was this virtual kind of affair. We did a bit of a live thing on the Sunday, but it was an invite only, kind of for friends and family of Carfest. But yeah, this will be my first time putting on a live event since all the lockdowns and stuff have ended. So yeah, can't wait.
Yeah, wicked. So finally, and I reckon this question was almost written for you. Imagine if you could put on your dream local show. Who's playing? Headline, support, what venue? Oh, whatever you want.
Right, okay. So we're at the brewery, aren't we? I mean, you say like who's playing? It's going to be a charity day, so I'm going to have to think of a few.
Oh, of course it is.
I mean, Cruel Blind have got to be there.
Yeah,
6 Degrees have got to be there.
Ace.
As well as Without a Clue, it's
brilliant. Yeah.
Got to have that. See-Through might get an invite.
Ace.
Yeah. See what you're up to.
Yeah. Busy driving over CDs.
Yeah. Untold would have to be there.
Okay, yeah.
Untold, I've got a lot of time for those guys, and they've gone on to do some great stuff as well. I mean, I play just to open up.
Yeah. Compare.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we all know my comparing skills. Were you that year at K-Fest when someone jumped on the stage and started trying to rap?
I don't know.
In between bands, and I really had a tough time. In the end, Lynn's just basically got up and hit him.
Oh, really?
Amazing. I'd lost control of the situation entirely. She was like,
this K-Fest outside or K-Fest
outside? This,
yeah. My favourite ever See-Through gig is K-Fest when we played that.
Oh, that was phenomenal. I think that, like I say, my memory fails me. There's so many great bands, and I can't remember a single one of their names. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So what we've established is your all-dayer is turning into a bit less than an all-dayer.
Yeah, it's going to have to be like an evening. Maybe just a late show.
A charity evening. That's what we're established. A charity evening with See-Through causing mischief outside.
Smashing up CDs, yeah.
Smashing up CDs. Cruel Blind. Who else did we say?
Untold are going to be there, like Untold, yeah. Without a Clue.
Without a Clue.
They're going to headline, I think.
Yeah,
Without a Clue, we're going to have to headline.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm sure you were after that slot, but...
No, mate, we prefer not to play.
And I suppose you haven't played a show for me yet, so why?
Yeah, no, exactly. Why change anything?
Why change that of a lifetime? But 6 Degrees, obviously will be there. and then me doing a little opening set before the pub opens.
Well, thanks, mate. I look forward to hanging out with you at the See-Through show in December.
Yep, I'll be there.
You will be there, but
Yes.
we'll announce it later.
Yes.
All right, mate. We're out. Cheers, mate.
Nice one. Cheers, bud.